So I've been getting questions as to why I'm not doing a best and worst list of the year this year. I haven't done one yet because the year wasn't over. Now it is. As always, ground rules, because every time I do these, someone gets annoyed at me as to why I only did figures from this year, and the answer to that is normally pretty simple. I usually don't do it because I want to catalog this year in Transformers, not my year in the Transformers. This time, it's even simpler because I only bought one figure this year that was not in fact from this year, and it was a good one, but it's not best of year material. So this time, people better not complain at me about this, since it is in fact both a look back on the year as a whole and a look back on my year with the Transformers. As always, I'm starting off with the best of year list, because everyone knows that my true power lies in my ability to rage. So let's ironically save the best for last. But first, your likes! Please move. And if you enjoyed this video by the end and you aren't subscribed already, please consider it. It's the top 10 figures of 2023. But also first, some honorable mentions. HasLab Deathsaurus. Is this good enough to be on this list? I don't know. It's very good, but I do know that I don't want to put it on this list. Is that due to it not being worthy or my personal preference? I can't tell. But it at least deserves to be acknowledged. Then there's the TransArts Tarantulas, who is just yet another TransArts work of art. Unfortunately, the transformation is just too finicky for it to be on this list when it's this contested this year. And guys, this year is proving to be very hard to make a best of year list, not because there wasn't enough good stuff, because quite frankly there was a ton of it, but because the good stuff all tended to ride at like a 7 or 8 out of 10. All great, and I'm happy to have in my collection, but at the same time, very little world-endingly good stuff that makes me go, this has to be on the year-end top 10. I keep finding myself looking at the figures and going, well, that could go, but should it? Also, as per my rules, anything that's a retool, re-release, or repaint of an existing figure from years past isn't allowed on here. So basically, that rules out all the IDW retools that Hasbro put out. Though they may not deserve the list altogether due to the, how shall I put this kindly, absolute shit tier QC that ancient pagans probably worshipped as a god of evil. Oh dang yeah, number 10, Legacy Skyquake! Unfortunately, I fear that the message I'm sending with this list is that you need to get at least up past Voyager scale to wind up on the best of year list, but I'm going to start with Legacy Skyquake, and by extension his more handsome repaint in Dreadwind, who I did not get because while this is good enough to be on the end of year list, I did not need 2 of them. And I'm sure I just about dropped the jaws of the many of you who know how I feel about the Prime designs. But what can I say? The G1ification here is working magic for me, and I can only imagine how I will feel when we get one of these in a color scheme that I actually give a shit about. Though with how bad the Toxitron line did, expecting that may be a fool's errand. What keeps this so low on the list is really some frustrations in the transformation that require you to memorize a few tricks, otherwise you just can't get this looking right, and a hard-to-describe degree of wonk with the whole endeavor that stops this from being one of those figures that I feel like I need to handle when I look at it on my shelf. Number 9, Dragon Megatron. This one I feel pretty contentious putting on this list, because it kind of should have been in the running for last year's best. At the same time, Hasbro's distribution is such shit that despite the fact that this should have been out months before the end of the year, most people couldn't get this till 2023. So I think it's at least reasonably fair to put it on the 2023 best of year list. You may notice I have an upgrade kit on this, and if you know me, you know what that means. This isn't a figure that needed an upgrade kit to be fixed, this is a figure that earned an upgrade kit by being that good. It's pretty much everything I ever wanted a Dragon Megatron to be like, except no chrome. Perspective cry. It looks great, poses great, transforms decently, and has an amazing alt mode. It would be way higher on this list if it weren't for the fact that it's kind of the previous year's figure. There's gold in them there hills! Number 8, Armada Megatron! I know there's some consternation about lost gimmicks with this guy and his old toy, and I just don't know why you expected them. The original toy was famously called more gimmicks than plastic. Of course, a modern version is just going to be a better looking, better painted, better posing rendition of it without the 1,000,001 gimmicks. I don't see what's even remotely scandalous about that. It's a modern figure that's got pretty strong posing, a divine paint scheme, a fun transformation, and a good alt mode that even still has way more gimmicks than your typical figure today. With the exception of the shoulder articulation, this is exactly what it should be. And what it should be is something good enough to end up on the best of year list. There's a snake in my boot! Number 7, Mainline Optimus Prime! I've still never found the Studio Series, and I still don't think that it can beat this. I love everything about this figure. I love the posing, which there's no way that the Studio Series is better at. I love the gun, which is way better than the Studio Series' dorky lemon buster that looks like he shoved a coffee mug on his fist. I love the aesthetic, when the Rise of the Beast movie and Studio Series versions are a much worse downgrade of the Bumblebee movie Optimus design. I love the feet. Please don't cut that out of context. But give me rectangles over teardrops every day of the week. It delivers a satisfying transformation and a really cool looking alt mode, if a little knobbly. But this may be the squarest Optimus alt mode ever. And you know me, square's good. Square's very good. The mine done just collapsed. Number 6, 86 Snarl. Okay, I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record, because this was also on my Christmas recommendations. But once again, the 86 Dinobots are absolutely among the best figures we've gotten all decade. Grimlock, amazing. Sludge, amazing. Slag, decent. And now Snarl, amazing. A cool looking head that none of us could have ever predicted. Can the 80s sickness feed back into the Transformers? Because Mega Snarl the Dinotron here really stole another G1 character's face. And it's got a dope-ass build with great QC and sculpting. The best posing for one of these guys yet, when they've all been pretty good so far, and an awesome transformation with an alt mode that looks like it jumped off the screen. The worst thing I can say about it is, it's got a squishy sword. Boy, I hate it. But it's still one of those figures that will define 2023 for me, and for the better. Them filthy bandits just done stole my pants. Number 5, 86 Ultra Magnus. Look, I'm gonna keep this short, because I've been trying to find it in my schedule to review this figure for a couple months now, and I don't want to blow what I've been planning to say in a short blurb for the best of year list. Needless to say, all the worry and aggravation people had about this thing was overblown. Is it a bit expensive for what it is? Maybe, but I'd say that he wears it way better than the Studio Series Rodimus Prime. That thing I felt like needed to be cheaper for sure. This thing, I wonder if it should have been cheaper. But yes, we finally have an Ultra Magnus to completely invalidate the Kingdom one with its Andy Dick face that concerns me so much. I still don't hate that thing like a lot of people do, but without question, this is far superior. The worst thing I hear about this now is that some people's copies have loose shoulders, which aren't on mine, and if they were, is a fixable problem. And then everything else I have to say I want to save for the review. But don't worry, soon, hopefully by the end of the month. It absolutely deserves to be on this list, though I can't put it any higher. Yeah, number 4. I don't know why I'm doing the whole Prospector thing. Commander Class Armada Optimus Prime. I really don't want to send the message that you have to spend a lot on a Transformer to get a good experience, but this year is dominated by the bigger boys. And people thought I was being negative about this figure. I'm negative about the core robot. The basic Optimus just seems a little lifeless to me. Could be the sculpt, could be the frustrating way his crotch and shoulders want to come unpegged, could be the giant mono boob, but it's probably just a really boring transformation. He falls on his face, and that's the transformation. But that is only the core robot mode. There is a whole super mode that doesn't take into account, and the super mode is awesome. Unlike the transformation to get to vehicle mode, the super mode actually has steps and phases. There are also clicks. Such delightful clicks. The whole thing becomes big and satisfying and chunky and cool, and the only reason that you'd not leave it in this mode 100% of the time is so that way you can have the Prime Recliner. This thing is a full-blown playset, and once you get past a mediocre first mode, it should blow you out of the water. Number 3.
My son! My son!
All I ever wanted was a Skyfire that agrees with me, and this is everything I ever wanted and more. It has a cockpit that runs down the entire center uninterrupted, something I'd always dreamed at least one of them doing. It's huge, something that all good Skyfires should be, and it uses minifigures to imply that it's even bigger, which makes me give it the bedroom eyes. Poses well in spite of its lack of waist, transforms well, and has an amazing alt mode. Honestly, the worst 2 things I can say about this is the face, which I do see what they were going for, but I will commit extreme acts of violence to get these upgrade faces that no one seems to be selling, and the fact that it's so big and heavy, filming it is a Herculean task that just about kills me. So excuse the reuse of old footage, but I really don't want to bust out the big light box and then strain a muscle holding that thing at the maximum arm length possible for the camera. I have to grip in my teeth to get it far enough away for it to be in frame. It's great, I love it, and I'd have it be the number 2 if I could, but the problem with that is... Number 2. The figure that beat it, the best Skyfire, the Magic Square. A figure that I'm also not certain should be on this list since it's kind of a 2022 figure, but at the same time I had this pre-ordered long before it ever released and I still wound up with it in 2023. Plus everyone who got it earlier than me got it like mid-December. So when it's that close to the gate, is it really a figure from that year or the next? I would absolutely kill for Magic Square to just give up on the Legends game and upgrade all their stuff to Masterpiece scale. They'd just be better for it. But even still at this undersized scale, this thing is astonishingly good, and it won the title of best for a reason. It is both incredibly accurate and just stylized enough to make it cooler and more heroic than if they left it looking like the actual G1 character. The posing is the best of any Skyfire, and is, because Magic Square are a bunch of wizards, also therefore one of the best posing figures of all time. The transformation rules, it's tons of fun, and the alt mode is amazing. This very easily could have been my number 1 if I was weighting things differently. But as it stands, those 2 are the only Masterpiece and third-party figures that will be on this list. Because number 1 is the Nemesis. It is rare for a figure to come out and be so perfectly what it needed to be. Once again, forgive the old footage, but this has the same problems as the Masterpiece Skyfire, but even worse, so filming it here in a list of 10 other figures would destroy me. But yes, this is perfect. A desperately needed puzzle piece of Transformers history has finally been realized, and it is glorious. For starters, that alt mode is divine. I would buy it for this alone, and I wouldn't even complain. It's a cool, giant fuck-off spaceship with a billion blast effect ports, so what's not to love here? You can do some stuff to set it up as a base, it looks cooler and more cohesive than the Kingdom arc, and honestly, can I even tell you how rare it is to get a Titan alt mode that doesn't look like bullshit? Almost all of them just look like a robot you laid on its side. So it's a winner at step 1. But then it's got a really fun transformation for a Titan, who the only one I have more fun with in this category is Siege Omega Supreme, and then it's got a badass bestial bruiser of a robot mode looking like it's ready to kill all the Autobots. I'd fear her more than Trypticon. Sure, she's got some danglies here, which are kind of lame, but these are deal-withable, and they're the one thing I don't like on this figure. It's bigger than they claim it is, it's badass, it's fun, and it's something that we needed. There's nothing more to demand of it. I have to give it the figure of the year. There's not one thing we needed more that came out this year, and its execution is up there with the rest of the best. All in all, it was a great year for the Transformers. Now I just need to figure out how the hell I'm going to make a worst of year list when most of the figures average just 7 out of 10. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.